WYSL stations present an hour of truth for the battered but proud people of the Empire State. From the financial and entertainment epicenter of New York City to the sleeping and empty small cities and towns of upstate, which once bustled with manufacturing, mining, and farming. We all know from inspiration, history, and nature, we deserve a return to the success and growth of generations past, a birthright being squandered by corruption in Albany, and the depredations of an insecure, scheming mountebank posing as governor, who loathes both us and himself. As liberty beckoned to enslaved peoples behind the Iron Curtain via American broadcasts after World War II, we now say, believe, rise, and join us. Welcome to Radio Free New York.
Hey guys, welcome to Radio Free New York. You guys are probably sitting there thinking, wait a minute, it's not Monday, it's not Friday either. It's a Wednesday.
Funny thing about that.
Yeah. Unless you're listening to the repeat, then it might be Friday or a different day. We're doing kind of a special Radio Free New York today before the Thanksgiving holiday, and I'm here in the WYSL studio with Bob Savage as usual.
Ahoy, mateys.
And we've got some good news to share with you guys.
Yes, we do.
And so what that news is, you guys have been asking for a while now. I couldn't tell you when the first person was that said, hey, I like the show. I like what you're saying. My friends and family do too. Will you do more? And so we've talked about this. We've talked about it for a while. We now have the opportunity to make that happen. So starting this upcoming Monday, I believe that's the 2nd.
It is.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So Monday the 2nd, Radio Free New York will be 5 days a week. And the time's going to change. So if you're listening right now and on Monday the 2nd or a time after that, you come looking for us at 1 p.m., you're not going to find Radio Free New York at 1 p.m. We're actually going to be in the noon to 1 slot. So hopefully for those of you who have that lunch break at work, that gives you the opportunity to not have to hide from your employer while you're listening to Radio Free New York at 1.
Bring your employer into the big tent here.
Yep.
Just tell them to join you. Listen.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. So this is very, very exciting. I'm excited. And I'm also excited to say that since it's going to be 5 days a week, I'm going to need a little bit of help. And so some of you know Kevin Wilson or Kevin the Libertarian. He is going to be on the show. He's going to be helping me out. And Sean Phelan will also be coming in from time to time doing the same thing. I don't know specifically what days, what the format's going to be just yet. We're all still trying to figure out schedules. But
it'll be Radio Free New York.
It will be Radio Free New York at all times. So all 5 days of the week, it's going to be Radio Free New York. We're going to be talking about issues the same way we've been talking about the issues. I'll give you the story from the left, the story from the right, and then how I feel about it, which may be a little bit of each side, maybe none of those sides. So all that's still going to be the same. We're just going to maybe have a couple extra voices here. We'll get them to try to beat me up a little bit or something. I don't know. We'll see.
A little counterpoints for that. Hey, by the way, we wish Julie Jordan DePauw. We announced this on her show yesterday that We Concur is going to end as of the end of this week with a couple of repeat shows. Julie's been with us for a year and has done a great job with We Concur during the noon hour, a concept which we came up with, an attempt to bridge the gap between the political divide in the country. Mm-hmm. And I think that we set the example that such a thing is possible. You can have divergence of opinion and still have mutual respect and have a civil, dialogue and a discourse and hopefully wind up in a productive spot. And I think that we made that point. So we thank her very much. She's also kind of a victim of the success of her practice, which has now grown to where she just doesn't have the time
to have.
Exactly. To devote to doing a daily radio show. However, she's still going to be associated with the station along with her husband, the prosecutor, devil's advocate, Jeff DeBama, and Damian Costanza, who's hilarious.
Yeah. I was just listening to them on
former morning guy, by the way, for about 12 years on WBER. Yeah. But anyway, they're a great combination, all three of them, and we're going to be debuting a new weekend show with a name yet to be announced.
Oh,
because frankly, I don't think we know at this point.
Nobody knows.
We've kicked around some ideas, but
Yeah, very cool. So that's my special announcement to you guys as listeners. The exciting news. So tell your friends, tell your family, make sure you share this out. That it'll actually be at noon, and it'll be noon Monday through Friday instead of 1 p.m. I know guaranteed Monday at about 1:20 to 1:40. I know my Facebook page is going to start filling up with messages saying, "Hey, where
what
are you?"
happened?
Yep. So if you guys could help me out and spread that news now, that would be much appreciated. And as we develop the show, one of the things that is great about being on WYSL is that we have the three stations, the 1040, the 92.1, and the 95.5. And of course, I'm always streaming live as well. And I just realized as I'm saying this, I never popped up the chat. So if you guys are commenting in, I can't see your comments right now, but I'll fix that in a second. One of the things that we're thinking about is if we'll be able to set up, especially with more of us on the show, whether or not we're going to be able to live stream every single show or not, we're going to work that out. But what we might do is, for those of you who are supporting us on Patreon, we may choose 1 or 2 shows a week that we do on air, but maybe we only stream special for you guys. So if you guys are on one of those tiers, which start at way less than a cup of coffee, basically, it's pretty easy to support the show. Maybe you guys get the Wednesday show and that one doesn't go on the live stream or something. We're not sure. So that's also just something special for the Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much. And our other supporters as well, because the show would not be here and be as successful as it is without you guys. So with all of that being said, looking forward, there's a couple things I do want to talk about today. A few things that I think are going to be really important. One is I want to talk a little bit about the holidays because they're coming up. We've got a handful of them in the next 30 to 35 days. And then we're going to talk about New York State's budget crisis and some electoral problems that we're getting out of that. But the first thing I do want to talk about is holidays because, well, we've got some big ones coming up. And, even talking about Julie's show, how people can get together and agree, even though they disagree. I think that's an important topic for the holidays, too, because chances are you're going to see a lot of family. You guys are going to be together in a small, confined space. And there's going to be maybe many cooks in the kitchen and, that whole thing.
Not me.
Not you?
I stay the hell out of there.
Do you?
Yeah. Oh, no, you don't want me underfoot.
Yeah. Yep.
We have a Bills game to watch tomorrow, so that's a positive.
Yep. Well, what's interesting? I found out as I was talking with friends and family and coworkers and stuff about, how Thanksgiving is at their place. It's pretty common. You run across somebody. Oh, hey, what are you doing for the holidays? What are you doing for Thanksgiving? And many times we host at our house. And I have a fairly large family. In fact, as we're looking at the house, we're like, how are we going to fit everybody? This is going to be a challenge this year. And next year is really going to be a challenge because it always seems to be growing, which is a great thing, But, I was talking with somebody, and since our family's big, everybody does just one thing. Which is awesome. So like one person does the turkey, one person does the mashed potatoes, one person does whatever vegetable sides, we can split it up quite a bit. So it's never a ton of work for any one person. Desserts we might split between 2 people because, you want a little variety there. But I found out, I guess there's a lot of people that don't do that. I guess the family that hosts also does like all the cooking, and that seems really stressful to me. I
think that's a stretch.
Yeah, that seems like a lot. So if you are in that situation where you're thinking like hosting holiday dinner means, you're doing all the work, I would strongly advise you to make use of all the people who are going to show up and tell them to bring a dish to pass. Because that's a lot of work. That's definitely a lot of work.
Yeah, then you got to clean up afterwards too.
Yeah, that's the thing I usually dread, is people are coming over. First I got to clean the house because not that it's bad, but there's just some disorganization. You got the bills out on the table that you're going through, paperwork, those sort of thing. You got to go through, clean it up, make sure you can find the stuff afterwards, and then you get it clean. It lasts that way for a few hours before everybody shows up. And afterwards, there's a lot to clean again. So for me, those were always the things that would, I guess, stress me out, for the holidays. But thankfully, everybody works together pretty good. So, one person, usually one or two people always volunteers to help with dishes, another person with the garbage. So it goes pretty quick, as long as everybody's working together. But the one thing I did want to bring up for the holidays is, Black Friday especially kind of rubs me weird, because you have Thanksgiving first, and then you follow it with a day where people fight each other.
With Green Day.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful. Now I'm going to kill you if I can't get this TV.
Yeah. So that to me has always been just really off-putting. And in fact, I haven't participated in Black Friday ever since I can remember. It's been years and years. And one of the things we do instead is we give all the employees their holiday bonuses the paycheck before Black Friday.
Oh, nice.
So they don't have to go in debt when they do their shopping. And we just give everybody the day off, because probably nobody's going to call or use our services anyways, but it's one of those things that I want people to kind of like stop and think about, how we carry ourselves so much differently from Thanksgiving Day, time with our family, caring for people, and then how that transitions to people's actions in Black Friday. I think it's worth noting. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I'm just going to share with you guys a couple cool ideas for the holidays, and then we're going to talk about the New York State budget. And we'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Happier holidays for deserving children right in your community. Go to toysfortots.org and learn how you can make a difference.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating.
Come on back.
Website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals. Give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York
on the WYSL stations.
Just a quick footnote on Black Friday. We were just talking about it during the break here, Andrew. I think Black Friday is probably an endangered species anyway.
Yeah, I think in terms of retail in general, retail is starting to fade. People fighting each other in the stores is starting to, fizzle out a little bit because they
Having
can
to park, wait in lines,
Yeah,
deal with
yeah.
crowds, bad weather,
camp out with your sleeping bag 6 a.m. the
Ridiculous.
night before.
to buy something.
Yeah. And you know what really bothered me is when stores started opening on Thanksgiving and starting their Black Friday sales on Thanksgiving.
I don't know. I don't really care about that much. I mean, if you don't want to work there, you don't have to work there. You know, you can find some other job. But I just think the whole thing is grotesque, and I think most people are starting to realize that. And then you have the added convenience of just going online and buying whatever you want to buy. I think you should support local retailers, but it's just going to blunt the effect of the Black Friday thing.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of stores too are they're basically what they're doing to mitigate all of this is they're having Black Friday all month.
Yep, absolutely. And I think the real deals are actually on Cyber Monday anyways. You know, most of the stuff you buy, you want to go on Cyber Monday for those deals anyways. But the whole idea of, you know, spending one day trying to be really thankful and then the next day kind of like fighting and wrestling for stuff, it just always rubbed me the wrong way. So what I did want to do is bring up a couple ideas, a couple things that you could consider doing on Black Friday instead of wrestling and fighting with your neighbors in the store or, you know, camping out in what actually seems to be pretty warm winter weather right now. We'll see if it holds up or not.
Not Friday, it won't be.
No, is it going to get cold again?
It's this is by the time we end the show today, this being taped on Wednesday too, you're going to see a big difference.
Yeah, probably. It looks pretty clear out there right now, but I bet you it's going to get cold. So, you know, what could you do on Black Friday or even Thanksgiving Day or any day along all the way through Christmas? You could really do this any time of the year. But you could take the time, and actually let me take a step back. You know, one of the big fundamentals of being a libertarian is believing that if people have the ability to do something good, they will. And sometimes that's just the suggestion that they could do something good. Maybe it's a cause that they see and they feel motivated to do something that they believe in, that sort of thing. So that being said, I'm a firm believer in volunteerism and like personal charity and just generally doing good things because that's important to you. So, you know, some of the things I think of for the holiday times, instead of shopping, I'm always thinking about, okay, this could be a really good time to engage in volunteerism. And the volunteerism can really mean any number of things, whether that's volunteering to help with a kid's after school program, especially maybe kids who are in a single parent household and the parents are really struggling to get things together for the holidays. That could be volunteering to go to your local VA and talk with vets and, you know, even while they're in the waiting room, just keeping them company. Or maybe take in a homeless vet for a meal, you know, take them out for a meal. Or maybe even a vet who has no family to share a meal with them. You know, call up the local Veterans Outreach Center or some of these other organizations and just say, hey, you know what I would like to do this year? I'd like to take a vet who has no family out to lunch, or I'd like to bring them into my house for Thanksgiving dinner, or, you know, something like that. These are little things that they cost you very little. And at the end of the day, you're going to feel much better and much more fulfilled than whatever you would be wrestling somebody for in the department
You're
store.
going out and buying something. Yeah, no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's other things you can do too. You know, this time of year, being the holidays, people are spending probably more money than they can afford to because they feel like they need to compete in today's society. You know, their kids need whatever toy to compete with the kids at school. You know, that whole thing. It's very stressful for people. It's actually a really bad, really bad place for society to be. But we've been here for a long time. There's no doubt about that. So sometimes just letting people know that if they need to talk, you're there for them, listening to what their needs are, offering to help somebody out. You know, they say they forgot something, you know, maybe you have the opportunity to run to the store for them. You know, those are like the little things that you never know. Maybe you end up helping make somebody's day.
How about that elderly neighbor, you know, that lives down the street or across the hall or whatever? Do something nice for them.
Yeah. You know, if they can have cookies or something, you know, and you're baking cookies, set aside some cookies, bring some down for them, or do something. Something that people used to do all the time was just write cards to people, you know, and once again, it's such a small thing, takes maybe 5 minutes out of your day, and you never know, you might light up somebody's life and make their holiday for them, and it doesn't cost you much, and then later you get to see those benefits of just being nice and kind to somebody during the holidays. You know, one thing that I always found really interesting was an experience I had during my wedding, actually. It was really interesting. We had a wedding at the Joe Robach Center on Ontario Beach Park. And so it's a public place. You know, there's people walking the beach, there's people around, and people that you don't know, who know nothing about you, nothing about your lifestyle, your background, nothing. We're genuinely happy for you, excited for you, congratulating you, you know, just being really nice. Somebody that you know not anything about, you know, it doesn't matter about race, religion, what you do in life, just people happy and kind to you. And I remember that day thinking, man, if people took the time to treat each other the way people interact with people on their wedding day, so much would be fixed.
Yeah, we had a similar experience. We got married in public too, on a beach in Florida. And again, you know, there's always people walking by and people are yelling. You know, the thing that struck me was they were very respectful of the ceremony. When the ceremony was going on, you know, the celebrant was out with us, you know, barefoot on the beach, and he's got his tablet, and he's reading the you know, his script, and people weren't like yelling stuff at us or anything like that. They were being, you know, discreet and respectful. And then afterwards, when we're taking the pictures, and they're yelling the congratulations.
Sure. Yeah. So it's just
people are good. At bottom, I think most people are good.
Yeah, and I believe that, and that's another like core value that by and large, in general, most people are good. And so I want to just give you guys some food for thought. You know, as we're rolling into the holiday season, you will feel so great if you take a few minutes to help somebody out, and you have no idea what that might do for that person. That may make the rest of their year for them. Just the fact that you took 5 minutes out of your day to help them with something, or write a card, drop off some cookies, you know, because you might be the only person in their life that does that, you know, and they might be feeling like nobody knows they exist. So that's my thing on the holidays. I hope everybody has an awesome holiday. I see at least one person here commented. Albert on YouTube says that his families, they forgot to coordinate, so they're gonna end up with 2 turkeys. So that's a lot of turkey. I hope you guys are able to get through that. We always have turkey leftovers, always. So I can only imagine with 2. So the discussion for the rest of the show is going to shift now to New York State, our state budget, and some changes that are happening to our electoral system. And this stuff is pretty important, and I feel like they purposely release this stuff around the time of the holidays when people are so busy and they're so overwhelmed that they just don't have time to pay attention. So here I am. I have your attention, and we're gonna get through this because we're looking at over the next 2 to 3 years a $6 to $8 billion deficit, which is just immense. I mean, $1 billion is a lot. $1 million is a lot. $100,000
1 billion,
is a lot.
1 billion is 1,000 millions.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so much. And I think it's really important. I actually spent the morning watching Governor Cuomo's press release about this. And it was about 22 minutes long. It took me much longer to listen to it because some of the stuff I had to rewind and be like, did he really just say that? Like, I need to make sure that those are literally the words that came out of his mouth. And what came out of this press release was not caring for the people of New York, not wanting to actually fix things, not caring about the level of corruption or how much money is coming out of our pockets or the fact that our education system is really, really broken. Basically, this whole entire press conference was political talking points. Every single step of the way, there was a buzzword. There was some sort of trigger word. There was, a calling out to the left, like, hey, look at me. We're doing these things. None of it was substance in terms of actual good things for New York, and none of it was substance in terms of good things that have been done or good things that actually will be done. Instead, it was, well, we're going to grab more tax money and we're going to make you feel good and we're going to follow this agenda. And the fact that budgets are politicized to take political action has got to be one of the grossest things that happens in politics today. When you take your political agenda and you tie the budget to it so that things can't happen and money can't be spent unless
it's evil.
Yeah, unless you get your way. It's a terrible, awful thing.
It's manipulative and it's evil.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some of the details of this budget, some of the things that were said, and how this is going to change things in New York State. We'll be back in a moment on Radio Free New York.
You're listening to the voice of liberty.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, FM 95.5 Spencerport, and WYSL1040.com everywhere.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Aircraft Environmental Systems proudly supports Radio Free New York. Rochester-based leaders in climate simulation chambers for America's R&D laboratories. We're experts in troubleshooting, calibrations, custom designs, and consulting for more than 40 years. Industry pioneers, we created the first ever fleet of temperature, humidity, and altitude test chambers available to rent coast to coast. Trained and trusted by environmental chamber manufacturers, we are ACES. Find us at acesinc.com.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Radio Free New York on WYSL. AM 1040, FM 92.1, and FM 95.5 West.
we're back here on Radio Free New York. I'm your host, Andrew Hollister. We've got some special news. If you're just joining us here on the show, yes, this is not the normal day that we're on the show, unless it's Friday. And
But it will be soon.
It will be soon. Yeah,
It'll be one of special days. 5 special days a week.
Yep, absolutely. So if you're just tuning in or just catching us on the live stream, we've got a cool special announcement, and that is that Radio Free New York is now going to be a 5-day-a-week show. It's going to move from 1 to 2. It's actually going to move down to 12 to 1. So if you tune in at 1 o'clock, you will not see or hear me. You got tuned in at 12. Or you can always jump on YouTube or Facebook, watch the replays. We're going to try to do some special stuff for our followers on Patreon. And I'll also be joined by Kevin Wilson, or Kevin the Libertarian as he sometimes goes by. He's been on the show multiple times. And Sean Phelan. So
Has Sean been on before?
I don't think Sean's been on this show before. I think he's been on some other WYSL shows.
Really?
And as a call-in, maybe. Like a call-in
Yeah, that's
guest.
right. Did he? I want to say he called in here. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he may have called in back in the day in Shannon's show, possibly, and did like a half an hour with her, maybe. Him and Kevin currently do a show called Outside the Echo Chamber on Saturdays with another station. So kind of bring them in, and we're going to have fun, and Chase on Facebook says, she's excited to see Sean on the show. So, it'll be fun.
Is that the Chase we know and love?
Yes.
From Orleans
Chase
County?
From Orleans County. Yep. That's exactly who.
Hi,
that is.
Chase.
So, yep, definitely. And then Ron also comments in. He's saying he's having 2 turkeys, ham, and all the trimmings, but he's got 30 people attending Thanksgiving tomorrow. So that's a lot of food. I can definitely
Depending on the size of the bird.
Yeah. Sometimes I think about it. I'm like, it would be pretty cool to host a Thanksgiving that you only need a rotisserie turkey or a rotisserie chicken from Wegmans from.
I keep wanting to do the fried turkey thing, with the fryer out in the driveway.
Great.
Yeah.
I've heard they're really, really good, or a smoked turkey. But I've heard the fried turkeys are amazing. I think my family actually did one year. But a lot of times I'm not in town this week. So, I think it was one of the years I missed out on, but I heard it was awesome.
Yeah, you got to have the equipment for it. And of course, obviously, you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you burn the house down.
Yeah.
Or kill yourself.
You do it outside.
Oh, no, you have to do it outside.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's the holidays. That's the special news. We're going to talk about the budget. And Governor Cuomo said, I think this was within the first 2 minutes of this press conference, and I had to rewind this just to be like, did he say this? I just want to be sure. He says that this is the strongest progressive budget they have made. So
What's strong mean?
Strong means spending a lot of money.
Right. There you go. This is the progressive metric for how you know you've got a successful program.
Yep.
How much money you spend on it.
Yep. So strong meaning spend lots of money, and then the next word, progressive, also meaning spend lots of money.
That's right.
So when he made that statement, yes, he is very true to that, and we'll talk about that later on. He was talking, this was towards the end of the press release. He says, what is a budget anyways? It's dollars, and and they have to add up, which clearly didn't happen, by the way. I mean, unless they're using Common Core. But then he said, it can't just be a Christmas list that bankrupts the state. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that's what you've been doing. I don't understand how you think this is any different, because now we're looking at the largest budget crisis that our state has seen in over a decade. And we're looking at $6 to $8 billion of deficit over the next 2 to 3 years.
That's a big mountain of money.
A lot of money. That's a lot of money.
And if you think that's not going to hit you in the pocketbook where you're already getting hit, you got to be punch drunk from the amount of hits you're taking in New York State on taxes. Fortunately, we haven't reached the problems levels of California, but we're headed that way.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we're at the point now where they don't even try to hide it. I mean, they still dress it up pretty. They put a bow on top of it. But some of the things that he said throughout this was basically, yeah, we're going to increase your taxes. He just said it in a nice way. So, he starts off and he, this is another thing. I had to rewind and watch it. He's like, I wanted to thank my team from the far left. And I was like, really? He's admitting to that now? Like, that's
I mean, he's
bold.
This is a guy who prides himself on excluding people. This is the progressive agenda. The progressive agenda is dividing people, setting us against each other, and taking things away from you.
Yeah.
The progressive model, you notice this increasing frequency. You've got these bans. They're banning everything. They're banning certain types of firearms. They're banning vaping equipment. They're banning sales of this or that or the other, fireworks, you name it. They love to ban stuff.
Yeah.
Stretch limos. You got to ban them.
Yep. High capacity limos is what I like to call them.
I like that.
So after thanking his team, he starts bragging about this being $175 billion budget, the biggest we've ever had, all this stuff. And then the first thing he does is start blaming everybody else for how much it is. So he blamed the federal government. He blamed Amazon not coming to New York. He blamed the criminal justice system.
Wait a minute.
It's kind of weird.
That's your progressive buddy, Estacio. Well, I'm blanking on it.
Bezos?
No. The congresswoman from
AOC.
AOC.
Yeah.
I've got Estacio on the brain because she's been in the local news here. But
finding her way there too.
Yeah, AOC.
Yeah.
Ocasio-Cortez. She's the one that chased freaking Amazon out of New York, out of Long Island City.
Yeah, I still believe that Amazon, like when they reran the numbers, were like, oh, we could never afford to do business in New York. We're out, But yeah, I mean, either way you look at it, the people to blame for Amazon not coming into New York are the people in leadership. Who's in leadership?
Exactly.
The Democratic Party. So any way you look at it, Cuomo can't sit there and blame Amazon not coming to New York for our outrageous budget. And here's the thing. Had Amazon come to New York, this budget would have actually been bigger because they'd have somebody else to pull tax dollars out of, whether that's tax dollars out of you and me to cover all the subsidies they were giving Amazon or tax dollars on whatever Amazon's doing. So the budget would not have been any smaller if Amazon was here. That is a total cop-out. He went on to blame the criminal justice system, and I can't imagine how the criminal justice system has anything to do with our budget being so high and having a deficit. If anything, the changes that he recently put into effect have really increased the strain on the criminal justice system and the DA's offices, and they're already talking about how they don't have enough budget to meet these new needs.
Right.
So
one of the problems, like the elimination of cash bail, for most crimes.
No.
Well, what that means is now we're going to have more law enforcement out looking for these guys when they don't show up for court, because of course they won't.
Yeah. And my gut tells me that long term, like police will just stop enforcing those laws because they know that people won't come up to court. But in things where they've shortened the time where the DA's office can present certain stuff and they have to get things together, they already have a tremendous caseload, and they're not going to be able. They're going to have to do overtime or hire more people or whatever to make this happen, which costs money. And You're blaming them for that when you enacted that. So that's weird. He blamed on some other weird stuff too, like the traffic in New York City. I didn't quite understand how the traffic in New York City makes our budget have to be more. That was strange. Then you start seeing some of the talking points come out where he blamed extreme weather and climate change. Our budget is high because of extreme weather and climate change. And then he blamed political extremism, which is a very broad painting brush. He didn't, elaborate on that. Just
political extremism.
It's hard and expensive because of political extremism.
Yeah, to him, that's anybody who disagrees with him.
Yeah. So those are the things that Cuomo blamed our $175 billion budget on. the federal government, Amazon, our criminal justice system, traffic in New York City, climate change, political extremism.
Traffic in New York City.
Yeah, it's just,
That's a real That's a deficit producer.
Yeah. So I look all that and go, I don't see Cuomo's name on this list. He didn't blame himself. He took no responsibility. Not anybody in the assembly. None of our elected legislators statewide. It is climate change and traffic in New York City.
It's very interesting. This is, again, another progressive, that is to say, Democrat trend is what you see. And we're following the lead of California, where L.A. Mayor Gil Garcetti and then, Governor Gavin Newsom out there, what they're doing, because their policies and because their social agenda has wrecked society in California. There's tremendous, disparity between the middle class is going away, so because they can't afford to live there anymore. I mean, the housing costs in California are insane. They're just over the moon, and nobody can afford the taxes. I mean, they're paying, I think it's a 9% income tax and a 10% sales tax.
Wow.
State sales tax of 10%.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's and then of course they have all kinds of other taxes and fees and whatnot, but because their policies, and by the way, they blame immigration. Well, who encouraged all the illegal immigration? So now you have to have the social safety net. 25% of the former population of Mexico is now living in L.A. That's true, by the way.
Really?
That stat is for 25%.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Yes.
Yeah.
And similar huge numbers of former citizens of Guatemala and Honduras as well. Yeah. Not as high, but a lot. But in any case, so what the politicians are doing out there is they're coming up with these non-quantifiable initiatives. So to try to avoid accountability, because they've made such a mess of things that they can't be specific anymore. So they talk about climate change, and they talk about gender dysphoria and how there's discrimination based on what gender you think you are.
Sure, yeah. And you're going to see similar things that Cuomo spoke about in this budget, in this press release. Because then after he, blamed New York City traffic and climate change on our budget, or our budget on that, then he talked about his first 100 days of justice plan and how successful that was. And that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Yeah, I wasn't aware of this. And
first I heard of this one.
Yeah, me too. Apparently we're on day 90 already. So guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Cuomo's 100 days of justice and what that is and what it means. We'll be back.
Very afraid.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be back on Radio Free New York.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at Simple Tech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, Simple Tech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. Simple Tech Innovations.
Fiorella, a family-owned farm-to-table Italian restaurant with casual atmosphere at the newly renovated Rochester Public Market. Fiorella offers wood-fired, old-world-style pizza with naturally leavened dough, house-made fresh pasta, desserts, and gelato. Enjoy craft beers, imported Italian and New York State wines. Open Wednesday through Saturday for lunch and dinner. Wednesday evenings enjoy no corkage fee, and Thursday is gnocchi night. Call 434-5705 for reservations. View the menu on the web, restaurantfiorella.com.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
You're listening to Radio Free New York
on the WYSL stations.
Now 5 days a week.
Yeah, 5 days a week. Radio Free New York is starting Monday. We're switching noon to 1, and we're going Monday through Friday.
Because you asked for it.
Yeah.
And because, say it with me, we're the station that cares.
Yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah, so I really appreciate everybody's support and you guys constantly asking for a 5-day week show. Starting Monday, you guys are getting a 5-day week show. So it's very exciting. I'll be joined by Kevin the Libertarian and Sean Phelan. We're going to figure out a schedule to work them in and have them here on the show with me as well. And we're all just going to have a good time talking about things that are important to you guys from our perspective, from your perspective, and hopefully from somebody else's perspective that disagrees with all of us. So that's just how it is. So before the break, we were talking about Cuomo's press release today, talking about the budget with this huge multi-billion-dollar deficit. And he kind of like worked in this weird Cuomo's first 100 days of justice plan. And I follow this stuff, I'd like to say, pretty well. I wasn't aware of this 100 days of justice plan.
And then he announces it. And by the way, we're on day 90.
Yeah. And he's like, and today's day 90, and this is where we are. And I'm like, really? How
Strangest thing. I'm in the news business, and I have contact constantly with Channel 10. Because we partner with them on local news, and it's like, I didn't see any 100 days of just what?
Yeah.
And why aren't there, and just not for nothing, but why aren't there 365 days a year of justice?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? So we're going to talk about what the 20 points that were supposed to be achieved in this 100 days of justice, which he says he's achieved all of them. At least that's what he said. And then midway through, he changed it to, well, we haven't quite gotten there yet. I'm like, yeah, because I'm reading this and we don't have this. I don't know what you're talking about.
What is he talking about?
So let's start. Number one, a progressive tax system is what that was. And then immediately below that, number 2 was cut middle-class taxes and fight SALT. And for those of you who are
State and
listening,
local taxes.
it is not, salt for your dinner table, although...
Or for the roads.
Or the roads, although if he was fighting with that, maybe there'd be better results in New York. I don't know. So he went on this kind of weird thing about the progressive tax system. He says we have it because we now have a permanent 2% tax cap on property tax, and
which is meaningless because all the counties can they can circumvent that.
Yep. So I don't know how he's saying that's a win or anything, but I guess if you're drinking the Kool-Aid, that sounds great. Then he said cutting the middle class taxes and fight SALT, and he basically said we're still fighting SALT the best we can. So that's your governor's idea of progress and accomplishing things. It's kind of like the war on terror. We have a war on an ideology. There's no actual winning that war because how can you beat an ideology? That's what Cuomo's doing. My promise is we will fight SALT. I'd like some results.
Who's he fighting? Who he's fighting?
I think he's fighting. He has a lawsuit against the federal government about the SALT deduction.
Oh, great!
And our income tax
going nowhere.
Yeah. So what that really means, which you should read that as, Cuomo promised to use our money to basically to take money out of your paycheck and my paycheck in two places. One on the federal side, so the federal government has to fight this lawsuit, and the other on our state income tax side, so the state can fight this lawsuit. So he made good on his word. It just didn't, mean what you thought it meant. It just means he's spending your money in both places on something that won't accomplish anything. So I'd say he made good on that promise. Next thing is another kind of weird one. Protect quality, affordable healthcare. I'd love to see that. I haven't seen that in New York. And his justification for how they fix that is that if Obamacare gets repealed on the federal level, that New York State is going to enforce it anyways. And
he's already said that. And
so
also
apparently that's been passed.
He's in favor for Medicare for all on a statewide basis too, which is a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody could have done it right, it would be Bernie Sanders, right?
Well, and it was proposed in his state, Vermont.
Yeah, they could
which is a liberal, a bluest of blue states, voted it down.
Yeah,
so we can't afford it.
They couldn't afford it. So if Bernie Sanders can't do it, Cuomo, you can't do it either. I'm just saying we cannot afford that.
Well, what you might get is you might get the Cuomo version of quote finger quotes here doing it, where he comes up with some kind of bogus, stupid idea and then declares that he's done it.
Yep, and that's exactly
just like the property tax exemption, which is not real.
Yeah. His next item: codify reproductive rights. Once again, that's just passing local law that matches some of the federal law now.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is the non-quantifiable stuff.
Yeah,
codifying reproductive rights.
Yep.
So you have the right to have a baby, I guess. What?
Yeah. It's kind of like weird stuff. Enshrine gender equality into law.
There's another one.
Here's one that you guys are really familiar with. If you're listening to the show, you're familiar with it. If you're not, you got to go to YouTube and replay a couple episodes. Combat gun violence. And what he means by that, and he said flat out, we passed red flag laws.
Yeah, take away your gun rights.
Yep, taking away your rights. So,
and by the way, those are going down. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, there's no way that passes like a Supreme Court case. There's no way. This one I found entertaining. So, and he has slides while he's doing this. They're playing it during this press release. So it says,
some of them upside down, maybe.
Yeah. So, definitely the dollars are upside down. That's for sure. He says we're gonna launch $150 billion infrastructure plan, and we've done it. And then later they go, well, it's actually only $100 billion. So
seriously, really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he realized that he was missing, but even the slides didn't match. Some of them said 150, some of them said 100. I'm sure he was just reading his notes that came from the slides, as he's doing it. And so it's just one of those things. It's like, you don't actually know, I hope it's only 100 billion because we just saved 50 billion right there. But
really.
Are these the people we're trusting to,
It's just like the Buffalo billion that was actually turned out to be the Buffalo 174 million.
Yeah, it's not good. Fund and restructure the MTA. Now, here's the thing that really made me angry about this. The MTA in general kind of frustrates me because it comes out of the tax dollars you and I pay, and we don't use it. I mean, it frustrates me for that reason. It also frustrates me because government shouldn't be subsidizing it to begin with, and a whole bunch of other things. So he says this thing that really should make everybody upset. And he says, I told them that we're not going to ask or take any more money from New Yorkers for this. I'm like, yes, that's right, and give us the rest back. And then he goes on to say, unless they can give us a good plan. And I'm like, no, stop taking our money. Stop it. Don't ask for more. Fix it. Get rid of it. Whatever you got to do, stop taking our money. Man, there's a couple of them on here, and we're going to run out of time. So I'm going to sprint through the other ones. Ensure education equality. We don't have that. But what he's talking about is actually dismantling the school districts and having each school run independently for funding.
Well, that would be...
Which is interesting.
Well, for funding. How about just having the school districts run themselves?
Yeah, I'm all for that. But what it sounds like is they want Albany to handle things for every individual school instead of local.
More
So,
control freak stuff.
Yeah, of course. Ensure fairness in the criminal justice system, pass the DREAM Act, ensure clean, safe drinking water for all, which I wasn't
We don't have that now?
aware that there was an issue for this in New York. Maybe something happened. I wasn't aware of it, but apparently that's the big thing on his agenda.
Let me tell you something. From somebody who's lived a lot of places, and I have, New York State does have one thing, and that's good water.
We have great water. We have amazing water, and it tastes pretty good too. Let's see, where are we? Improve our democracy, increase trust in the democratic system.
What?
Yeah, protect public sector unions.
Of course.
Yeah.
By the way, Andy, it's not a democracy.
Yeah, no, I know. Keep housing affordable for New Yorkers. Pass the Child Victims Act. Protect LGBTQ rights. By the way, if you're LGBTQ and you're hearing this, yes, you were second to last on Cuomo's list. And legalize adult recreational use of marijuana. So you guys will know which things did happen and which didn't happen because you guys live here. And thankfully, next week, we're going to have a lot of time to talk about this stuff because we didn't get to like half of it. So join me next time starting Monday. It's going to be noon to 1 on WYSL.